I'm Rob.
And I'm Matt.
And this is the Karnage Chronicles review by
Barefoot Gaming.
Okay, so Matthew, what is this game about?
So it's an RPG game where you basically go through a cave and kill goblins with either a warrior class or an archer class.
And my understanding is, as early access, there are more character classes going to be coming out. I'm going to touch on the RPG factor. It feels like an RPG in the sense that you can upgrade
your armor, so your helmet, your shield, your gloves, your chest, your weapons, your bow, your daggers for a hunter class. There's multiple different things that you can upgrade.
But you can't, as far as right now anyway, at the time of the review, you can't upgrade any of your own attributes. There is tactile feedback.
Right, so it actually feels really nice. So the first time I picked up the warrior class, you have a shield and a sword. And as soon as you touch even the tip of the sword to the shield, you automatically feel a vibration in the controller and in the shield itself. It feels really nice and smooth, and the way that your hands actually morph with the controller itself feels like it's your actual hand that is the controller.
As far as the visuals, how would you say it looks?
So I really like the way that it looks. I mean, it's got great graphics, everything looks really good in VR.
Yeah, it's one of the kind of games where when you first pop in, it's like, this looks really nice. And I haven't seen any of these assets used in other games. That's a bit of a crutch that some of the other developers use, is they'll use the same assets, so you're used to seeing the same thing from game to game. So here you've got different kinds of goblins. You've got your archer goblins look different than the sword fighting goblins. Then you've got like the wolves coming at you, and bugs and bosses. And
yeah, so the bosses at the end of every single cave that you go through, basically a level. Right now there's only 3 levels available, but they'll be releasing more with DLC, I believe, which are going to be payable add-ons. The bosses are pretty nice. They're kind of linear in a sense, but at the same time you're constantly having to move around them and actually worry about parrying and stuff around everything that you encounter.
I'm going to actually talk about that parrying a little bit, because this game has actually done that better than a lot of games. Doesn't have it perfect, not by a long shot, but if you are actually blocking properly, if they're coming at you from your left and you block with your sword or your shield to your left, you will absolutely block it. Same as attacking them, as long as their swords are up, you're going to have a hard time making a hit. We should also talk movement style. Now, first off, this is both standing and room scale, but it gives you some options for room scale, Matthew.
So you can teleport and have room scale incorporated with that. So you can teleport really fast, then when you get close to stuff, you can kind of move around the room and kind of, I guess if there's like a tree in front of you or a rock in front of you, you can swing side to side, especially if you're like an archer blocking arrows and stuff like that. You can kind of dodge the arrow, pop your head back out, take a shot, stuff like that. So it feels really nice that way.
And for trackpad purists, it also supports that. So if you prefer moving around just using your thumb for trackpad movement, that absolutely works as well. Somebody shoots you with an arrow, you can actually pull the arrow out of you.
Which was actually really cool. The first time we noticed that, I just kind of did it as a joke, but then I actually grabbed it and pulled it out. I was like, oh, that's cool.
So let's get to the review of Karnage Chronicles. It is currently going for $27.99 Canadian. And how many of those furry direwolf looking things chewing on your nether regions out of 5 would you give this? And why?
Why does it have to be the nether region?
That's the height that they're saying.
Okay, sure. Well, they do leave it. Okay, alright. So I'll probably give the game a 2.5, so I guess a 50%. Just because for $27.99, I had a lot of fun in the beginning, and the game looks really nice. But I couldn't really see myself playing it for long periods of time, because after a while I was kind of getting burned out and bored of it, and especially we tried out different difficulty modes, and easy mode was still already really difficult. So that's why I say about 2.5 out of 5 stars.
I'd be sitting at 2.5 out of 5 as well. I actually thought my score was going to be higher, because when I stepped into the game, it looks really good. It looks good, the movement's good, the way the characters react to you, like we mentioned before, the parrying and stuff, it feels like you're actually parrying. The only thing is, it feels like a grind after a while. And I found that, you know, like you get archers that are like in a certain position and your arrows have drop, which is fantastic. It should be close to real, but it's still really punishing. As for like, it's almost like they're too smart. So when you get into a battle, one-on-one, let's say you've got your dual daggers, because you're going to get tired of teleporting backwards or running backwards and then trying to fire an arrow and running backwards, because they'll chase you. But when you actually get into the fighting part, it can take a long time to beat one guy, and sometimes they'll get 2 or 3, and it felt like a grind. And I'm actually not sure what I'd recommend to fix that.
Yeah, I don't really know, because when we were playing the archer and I was low health, I was hiding behind a pillar. I was behind that pillar for like 10 minutes straight trying to shoot this one goblin because I couldn't pop my head out. So I was basically ducking in and out, and they were constantly just dodging. So as soon as I was actually going to hit a few shots, they'd instantly duck as soon as the arrow basically got to them. So, I mean, I like the fact that the goblins are smart, but at the same time, it's easy mode when I'm doing this, so it's gotta be a little bit more user-friendly in my opinion.
That's where I'd say as well. It just gets to be a grind. And I don't like games that are just based on grind. And you could keep grinding through this. You could go back in after you die, and every time you go back in, your money adds up, so eventually you'll be able to go back and buy a bigger sword.
Right.
And it will get easier and easier. But it's going to take you a long time if that's your strategy.
I couldn't see myself wanting to put in like 8 or 9 hours of gameplay into just getting my armor to a point where I would be able to be a little bit more at an advantage. Because even the upgrades themselves, I think the bow went from 4 damage to 6 damage or something like that.
Yeah.
And the daggers were only from like 3 to 4, 4 or 5, something like that. It wasn't a big enough upgrade to make it worth my hour and a half or hour of time that we took to get that gold.
And again, I don't want them to give me a super easy game that I can breeze through, but it shouldn't be so challenging that I can't hit the stupid suckers because they're so smart. It's great, make them smart, but let me choose in the difficulty level whether I actually want to spend 3 minutes fighting one guy or 2 minutes fighting one guy. So the only way I'd really recommend this game is if you're looking for a really challenging dungeon type crawler, because this has that. It looks good, it feels good, it's going to challenge you, and it's going to make you play more realistically, but they're going to pit big numbers against you. You're going to be shot with arrows while you've got 2 or 3 guys coming at you. Eventually some of those guys might have flaming swords. I think we pretty much touched on it. So thank you so much for watching the BFG and Barefoot Gaming channel. You guys are awesome. Our numbers are going up. We love to hear from you.
Yeah, I think within the last like 28 days we've got about 11,000 views. So you guys are awesome. Like, thank you so much for helping this channel grow, and we hope to do a lot more reviews.
Absolutely. So that's it. We're out of here. Talk to you later.
See ya.